Hey guys, welcome back to Tough Love with Dr. John O'Connor. Today's podcast is brought to you by Cryoscience USA. Our local cryoscience product is absolutely a game changer in our practice. So excited to use it on a daily basis. And let's just jump into our show today. It's 2023 in review. Let's get it started. Welcome back, Matt.
Good to be back, Doc. Ready to rock and roll. So 2023 in review. I will say it was a hell of a year. A lot of ups, a lot of downs, but I really want to just target what's happening, all the positives, how it started, and where we're at now.
You know what? I love the word momentum. And 2023 was about building momentum. We launched our Tough Love podcast in early spring.
Just hit 1K followers. Let's go.
Yes, we did. It was amazing. It felt like it was never going to come. And then this weekend, we had some great content hit with some of the fashion sites, and it took off, thanks to Clean Media. Those guys are the best. But, we launched the Tough Love podcast. Here we are now. Absolutely a game changer. Sometimes, a lot of times, really not sometimes, all the time, I'm listening to people that are in this space that I consider my coaches, if you will. They don't realize it, but, thanks Ed and thanks all these other guys out there that I listen to. And it's the truth. It's like sometimes you're listening to your guest or you're listening to yourself, and it's therapeutic. And I've been blessed to have friends out there like my boys that, my boy Dom that owns Lebranos, who's always throwing sunshine at me, and, DJ and all these guys that I brought on, and Coach Vito and Rob Gill. What's up, Rob? And my boy Drew. And of course, our upcoming podcast that we got a commitment of Eric LeGrand for an event in February. And I think that I wouldn't have thought this was something that I was capable of doing. I think a lot of people think that I don't have a shortage of confidence, but
Right.
It's people that don't really know my story. They don't know I was paralyzed with an eye patch and a cane and this and that and all that kind of stuff as a kid. And my tough facade is a byproduct of going through a ton of shit and coming out the other side and realizing, hey, you know what? It's about momentum. When I was a kid, it was not seeing or having double vision or being able to walk or be able to move and be able to do things to coming all the way back to getting back to the court.
Yeah.
And this year was the same thing. You talk about milestones in 2023, my body fat, my fitness composition, my health level, the training staff at the Ford Athletic Club was instrumental in that. I'll forever be thankful to them. And, to the point where I run into guys at, fitness centers all over the place. They're like having a conversation with me thinking I might be late 20s and 30s when I have a winter hat on or, goggles on, this and that. And I chuckle. I'm like, dude, I'm 50, and I love that. I'm blessed. And,
Right.
Between momentum and gratitude, those are two things that, I left 2023 saying, when I hit 2024, I want to continue the momentum, keep growing, keep building, and not about me, make it about we, and bring as many people with us on this journey to share what it is to have a dream. And, that's some of the things that I love about the Freehold space. It's like, don't chase your dream, run it down.
Yeah.
Right. And now that I finally feel like I got my health back, it's like, I feel like it's no limits in 2024.
Right.
Milestones. I mean, being fortunate enough to be able to finagle and get my son down to IMG Academy playing baseball after the tumultuous career of starting sports in COVID and everything and the adversity he faced, I feel blessed that, my wife and I were able to put him in that situation. And now, he just got back down there yesterday and, I just keep sprinkling that positivity like, hey man, it's time to work.
Right.
Right. I said, you do what you're supposed to do here and dad will do what he's supposed to do up here. And, we meet in the middle, we're getting tatted up together and we're going to be celebrating some wins.
Definitely. And that's tough love right there.
Yeah.
And Doc, honestly, I don't even think I truly know the meaning behind it. I want to rewind to beginning of 23 with the start of the Tough Love podcast. So real quick, I want you to, explain to our viewers here, what was your meaning and reason behind starting tough love?
Wow. You know, I wanted to keep this podcast positive today, but it's critical.
It's all
right?
positive.
And tough love for me was part of my spiritual journey that I was going through, and some changes that were going on in me,
Right.
from the adversity that hit me in, starting, I think, in 2020, and it's 2024 now, from physical breakdown to mental breakdown, to the rebuild. And I had never, as an adult, backed down from anything.
Yeah.
And anybody that knew me, that if somebody started something with me, I always chuckle, because my cousin Anthony would always be like a running joke, because he was always the hard ass. He'd always be like, don't start nothing, there won't be nothing.
Yeah. Right.
And that was kind of my MO, that I was like, if you tell me I can't, I'm coming.
I will.
And I lost that. And I said, if I'm going to start a podcast, it needs to be about something that tough love. Like, you're not always going to love the message you hear. And chances are, if you don't love it, you probably needed to hear it.
It hits.
And I wanted to hit where somebody's like, damn, I needed to hear that. Like,
Yeah.
I've been cutting corners. I've been, saying I'm going to get up at, 5 a.m. I'm getting up at 6:30.
Right.
I'm saying I'm working out, 6 days a week, or walking every day, or even something like, taking the dogs for a walk, or doing something for the family, and you're cutting corners. Tough love is like, or the realness is someone calling you out, or calling yourself out, saying, hey, be better.
Yeah.
And, again, so 2023, probably around April, March, I really started ramping up with fitness and that personal journey. And, I was really feeling myself, and then it was humbling, because a lot of things kind of fell apart, and, it kind of, everything came to a screeching stop. But I think it made me realize that, crazy things happen in life for a reason.
Right.
And, whether people come in your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime, you have to realize that that's what tough love is all about.
Yep.
And it's memories, like remembering the girl you went to the 8th grade dance with, or, graduating high school or college, or getting your doctorate, or, being in the 500 club for you, 500 squat, 500, and you remember these things.
Yeah.
And for me, I have mentored and coached and helped so many people that sometimes I feel like I haven't taken time to appreciate who's helped me.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
And to even kind of just dig in that deeper. Yesterday, my boy Anthony and I went to Baseline to show him, hey, this is where we're going to be trying to host a podcast at, do a huge event with Eric LeGrand. And it's probably our first national recognition podcast.
Right.
I mean, obviously, Incrediware and a couple of the other ones were amazing, but this one could really blow up, because I think we got some momentum now. And when we get there, what are the odds that one of my kids, that was one of my high school athletes that I trained, is blessed by God to be alive? Timmy got hit by a car on College Ave at Rutgers. Probably got drugged 100, 150 feet. And he was through it. He suffered a traumatic brain injury. And this kid was a scrapper. This family was a wonderful family from Homedale. And I saw him, got a picture of him, and posted up on social media yesterday. And I don't think people really realize, when you ask me like what tough love is.
Right.
Timmy was like, this is a guy that not only fixed my hand, but, taught me how to hoop, and this and that. And when you suffer a traumatic brain injury, you come out different, right? Shout out my girl, Noelle, she's listening. And for me, being paralyzed as a kid, I could always relate to them in a way that, like, I woke up one day changed, right? And when I saw Timmy yesterday celebrating his 30th birthday, over a decade since the accident, and his whole life has changed, he's the happiest human ever. And he rolled up, and, I'm with another coach's son, and gave me a huge hug. And, it just shows you how amazing people are and how people that are really special touch hearts and souls and touch millions without being paid or
Right.
being asked. I reached out, I shot Eric LeGrand a text and I said, yo, Rutgers alum, got hit by a car, traumatic brain injury. And he remembered, and right away he tagged up Timmy on the post and was like, happy birthday, my man. And, Timmy ran over and just, eyes lit up and just, ear to ear smile.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? I wouldn't give those memories up for all the money in the world.
Right.
Being able to work with those kids and being out there and, the momentum that gave me during the dark times that I was in, seeing them and seeing what they went through and seeing all those kids celebrating Tim, made me realize, hey man, we got to get out there and we got to have more stories like that. And we got to change
Spread
more
the
lives
love,
and
spread the
inspire,
blood, joy,
and just spread it.
Enjoy the ride.
Absolutely. So, tough love has so many meanings, in my personal life. I'm trying to evolve and be a better person. I made, a lot of decisions in 2023, some good, some bad. And, one of the things I tell my young bucks and even guys older than me, I'm like, hey man, you get one shot at being a dad and you have two boxes you can check when you're getting to the end of the road is, was I a good dad or was I a bad dad? And this year, I had to sacrifice a lot of things for me that I thought I wanted for what I knew I would lose. And I wanted to be an amazing dad.
Yeah.
And, my daughter and my son mean the world to me. And it was something that I realized that, you got to sometimes shelf it and say, hey man, you're here for a bigger reason, and things are meant to be or whatever's going to happen, you got to have priorities. And I got to tell you, like, right before we got on the show today, I leaned in on my daughter. It's like, give me a hug. Dad's going to, blow you up today and say, you're probably one of the most prized possessions I have on this planet. Right. And I would do anything for you and always remember that. So, again, your milestones, I don't think I would have said that if I didn't have the year in 2023, to be cognizant, or, emotionally available to share that. I'm like, hey, you make me a better person.
Right.
Don't stop being you.
Right. Absolutely. And that is a lot. Every single piece there has so much to do with the momentum behind this podcast. And as we continue momentum with this, Doc, I mean, we have many now, a handful, but our core four companies now are our biggest partners and sponsors. It's pretty amazing.
So great call on that. So shout out to Cryoscience. We're looking forward to traveling with them across the map. MedRay Laser, we're doing big things with them. Pulse Penf, we're shouting out them every day. And of course, the EMS dual class Shockwave. And, I can't forget about my guys at Incrediware. They have an amazing product. And of course, my boy Gary at the Mark Pro. And we just picked up two other companies jumping on with Rapid Reboot for 2024. And we're working on a couple others. And, the fashion, the sports fashion stuff has been crazy to me because, it's funny. Actually, I love it because it saves me a lot of money because, I went from buying Ferragamos to workout sneakers. So
getting some nice hoodies now.
Now I got my hoodie game up. But, I have to say, it's like, I would have never thought that at 50, I was pursuing, a fitness career again. But then when I thought about it, when I'm talking to people about, Velocity Wellness Institute and the anti-aging business and, another milestone, here we are, changing, when I say middle age, if you're in your 30s or 40s and you're dealing with aches and pains or lack of energy and you're lethargic or, you just don't like what you look like, why settle? Why not do something?
Come check out VWI.
Yeah, without a doubt. And, the Ford Athletic Club, we've been blessed to be in there and the great, relationship we have with them. And, that partnership has allowed us to really grow and scale our business and helping them as well. But I'll tell you that, you know, I love being in the gyms that I'm training in, whether it's a Ford Athletic Club or, you know, Iron Revolution. I was in another badass gym the other day. I love working out alongside guys that are, you know, like Sean and Mark's age from Clean Media, you know, because to me, you know, when, you know, we're chopping it up in the gym, then all of a sudden they're like, how old are you? And it makes me laugh. You know, it makes you feel good. But at the same time, you know, we ran into a kid the other day that came into the clinic, get his back checked. And I went in dad mode on him. I'm like, you're 21 years old, dude. You got a great physique. I go, at 21 years old, like I was, you know, chewing on metal and spitting out bullets. I didn't have these aches and pains.
Yeah.
You know, when you get to my age, you're going to be broken, and you gotta take that time now. I would have never, if it wasn't for the podcast and even being a healthcare provider, when I was in the clinic and you're seeing, you know, when you see 18 to 20,000 people in your lifetime and being in high volume clinics where you're seeing 500, 600 people a week, when you get to the gym or you get somewhere, a lot of times you shut down. You need your space.
Your me time, your wind down time. And
Correct. And, you know, so for me, I was really blown away with the opportunity to inspire, educate, motivate, and kind of get on my soapbox. You know, it's like I go to these recovery places and I'm sitting there and somebody starts talking to you and I'm like, let me just jump in and give them some insight. Then all of a sudden I start to notice they all lean in on it. And I'm like, you know, that's an opportunity. You know, you can help people grow and find a better version of themselves or feel better and do things that they didn't think possible. And I know, because you know what? I was that person. And I was blessed by, you know, digging into podcasts and digging into reading. I mean, you know, during COVID each year, you know, I was so desperate to find information. I was reading 60 to 70 audiobooks a year, you know, trying to find my why again, trying to find my salvation.
Right.
And, you know, the milestones in 2023 was, I know what my vision is. I know I want to coach globally. I know I want to be on stage. I know I want to have, you know, a couple amazing practices in multiple states. And also something that I didn't do well as a younger practitioner, be a better leader. You know, I've had some amazing providers that, you know, have moved on. And, you know, I would say, you know, for me, one of the milestones is something about like a personal quality of me is being better at showing gratitude on a minute to minute daily basis.
Right. It's what separates a good leader from just your average leader.
Yeah. And because people need it, you know, and you don't know what they're going on. You know, it's always funny. Like you always see those shirts. It's like you see somebody with a ridiculous exoskeleton. They're so hard, but you don't know what's going on in their head, what the battles they're going through. And God knows, you know, I was reading a book on a blockbuster actor in Hollywood that was in rehab for years and years and years. And, you know, just because everybody else was in that hustle and bustle kind of in that scene. And somebody ran up to him and started talking to him like he was gone like a week and he'd been in rehab for like 8 years. And I kind of felt that way when I was so beat up, where people walking up to me and talking to me, and I'm like, don't you see I'm down 30 pounds? And they're just, you know, asking questions and it made me realize that like 2024 and looking back at 2023, it's all about saying, hey, I've been there, man. You know, I love opening up and people say, man, like, dude, you're fit, you're getting bigger, like you're even more lean, da da da. And I'm like, you know what? It's a journey now. Now it's about staying healthy. And, you know, you're just saying about, you know, doing the Andy Frisella program, right? And I'm leveling up right now for me because, you know, I had my visceral body fat between 0 and 3%. My body fat all summer was 3 to 4%. Now I'm trying to put on muscle and get up to, you know, 220, 225 pounds. And, you know, that's a challenge, you know, because whether you're trying to lose weight or gain weight, you have to face it every day.
Right.
Somebody like you said, like, hey, no alcohol or, you know, I got to eat clean, no pasta. For me, eating is that challenge.
Yeah.
You know, I see it with my son. He's like, Dad, I just don't crave to eat. I said, hey, I have the same battle. You know, where
you do.
You know,
I tell you every 2 hours to eat.
Yeah, man. We were with Dr. Wayne on Saturday, right? He's like,
you
know, that was always Nick, right? And then he looks at a burger and gains 5 pounds. Right. So I think the milestones this year were learning more about myself, being grateful for the moments and the people that are around me, being thankful for the relationships, whether they're they're still here, they passed, what they taught me,
Yeah.
what I gained from them. And, you know, probably the biggest thing that I would tell people that are out there, especially listening to today's podcast, is, you know, every day's a gift. You don't know who's going to be gone tomorrow. I know one of the biggest things that I was grateful for in 2024 is I brought my dad with me.
Yeah.
You know, there were a lot of health scares this year with him, and he's always been my rock. You know, he's always been that Clint Eastwood character, you know, where he was just, you know, hard as could be, and, you know, like that true grit kind of John Wayne, Clint Eastwood, tough dude. And when the emphysema took a turn for the worse, you know, I was actually sitting at an event where Ed Milet was speaking, and I was out in Las Vegas. We were at a convention, and I'm sitting there and I'm hysterical crying. And thank God I have my glasses on, because I'm sitting there trying to keep a straight face, and I'm sitting on the side row. And I wasn't crying because of Ed Milet's story. I was crying because I went in it
Just thinking
because I
about
felt
life.
like I was thinking about my dad.
Yeah.
You know, and for him it was golf, and his dad, for me, it was hunting. And I made it a point this year with my crew always on me from Clean Media. They're always like, hey, you know, push your content. I made it a point to be out there and kind of show where I came from and my country roots, like being out on the quad, you know, getting set up in the outdoors, in the hunting situation, and really just loving it.
Yeah.
And, you know, so like I said, you know, I was blessed to get all that in. Those were milestones, right? And you want those memories. You know, I wanted to be able to get my dad back out there, and then he got a little momentum. He shot a beautiful buck, and now he's got the fever again. He's back out in the woods, and he's not afraid of it. And that's a big thing too, is milestones is letting go of things. You know, I think when he first got sick, and I never saw him be afraid of anything, he was afraid of the words that stop a lot of people. I can't.
Didn't think he'd be able to be back out there.
He was like, I don't think I can.
Yeah.
I can't. And he had made assumptions. And I said, you know, Dad, we talk about this all the time. You got to let go to grow.
Yeah.
You know, you got to go. It's our job. You know, and my boy Jeff and I are always, you know, around him, make sure he's there. I said, we got your back, right? We got your six. And, you know, Jeff's, former law enforcement stuff. So he's super strict, great guy. And we make it a point to be there all the time, like, Dad, you do you, and we got your back, right? And I think that's what life's all about, right? And I think today's podcast is, should be like short and sweet, and you know, touching on what we accomplished, and you know, and then also what we learned, you know. And I think, you know, obviously milestones on your side.
Yep.
You have Mrs. Calabria now.
There we go.
Big shout out. I will tell the world. Your wedding was in what month?
October.
And that wedding, and I don't want to make you cry, but that wedding was like literally could have been on the big screen.
Yeah.
You know, it was funny because, you know, they say, like, you know, love can light up a room, or, you know, heat up anything, and, you know, make the rain into a rainbow, and make snow turn into a winter wonderland, all that kind of stuff. But the elements weren't great. It was windy. It was cold. Your wife said something really funny about her dress shooting up. But I had laughed because the love and the conviction, and I felt terrible because she spoke first, and I said,
Matty Meatballs, come on.
I was pulling for you, big dog. I said, but with the attorney, when the arbitrator went first, and the love she poured into you, and the audience, and we knew a few of the people, but a lot of strangers, you know, I was blown away by her. And then when you went, I know you're from the same cloth as me, and I said, I give him 30 seconds or less, and of course you didn't even make it 5 seconds. No. The tears were coming, and I was literally, I don't know whether it was, maybe texting my sister at the time. I was like, you know, and sending pictures, and you know me on the phone, I'm firing pictures like I'm thinking I'm Sean. And, you know, I was blown away by it. So for me, I think, you know, one of the milestones was seeing the importance of appreciating when other people have something like that,
Right.
and sharing it.
Yeah.
I remember going back to the office, and I know there weren't a lot of people from work there, but I was like, guys, when you're Dr. O'Connor, and between the training and the clinical practice, we attend a dozen weddings a year,
Right.
events, another dozen. So if there's 52 weeks in a year, we spent half the year celebrating other
Yeah.
people. That was one of the most special events that I've attended in the last decade.
Right.
So if you say what a milestone was, I salute you going into the rest of your life
Yeah.
with your wife, and that
Appreciate
it
that.
was something special.
Yeah.
So
Awesome. Greatly appreciated.
yeah, I got you, man. So, but like I said, so so the message today I think is about milestones and then setting goals. Right? Milestones let you know what you're capable of. Right? But just like winning a championship, what's next? Right? And unless for the few that win and retire, it's about how do I reload? How do I grow? How do I say the milestones were a stepping stone for future greatness?
Right.
For us, we have some huge calls coming up with cryoscience. We're working hard on events and planning and future guests for our podcast and the coaching, and then also the evolution of Velocity Performance.
Yeah.
And the funny thing about it was, as I listened to say other podcasters, other people presenting, when people say, wow, you're so busy, I love that. When I don't have something going on, I feel like the fire that lights my soul is going out.
And it's one thing to be busy and just show up, but we're busy and we thoroughly enjoy what we do
100%,
day in and day out.
You're going to have some moments that are like, hey, that's not enjoyable,
Yeah.
but you're not going to love every day.
Right.
But I got to tell you, most of the day, most of the time, I am so grateful for the opportunities that we have and what we've created and what we're creating.
Yeah.
So like I said, I think today's podcast is about celebrating the milestones, the amazing sponsors that we have and the relationships. Again, huge shout out to Cryoscience and MedRay and Pulse PEMF and EMS Dole Class, and of course, Script HESCO. We're looking to do some even, more amazing things on our fitness side. And of course, VWR is our newest baby. And I think the anti-aging company is really starting to explode. I'm proud of my team there, Dr. Horowitz and the crew. But like I said, this is about celebrating all the milestones in 2023. And again, obviously there was a little bit of ruckus there too, and you learn from that, right?
Yeah.
And I think
You grow.
I think coming into 2024, it's about growth. It's about being even more consistent. And then I think the big thing now, especially with the coaching, what you learn is you don't have the luxury of time when you need to change,
Right.
For improvement. You need to look at it and step back and detach. I love pulling that out of, Jocko Willink, is detach, take a step back and make it immediate audible and be firm with that decision.
Right.
And I think that's one of the big things that I'm looking forward to on perfecting in 2024 with our clients, with ourselves, with our businesses, and with the audience we touch every day here on the Tough Love Podcast. So guys, Matt is amazing. Thank you so much for joining us on Tough Love, the podcast. Thank you so much for sharing it. Spread the word. Our platforms out there between Spotify and Apple Play, as well as we're on Instagram and Facebook now. We're so thankful. We can't do this without you guys. So thank you as an audience. Thank you from the bottom of our heart. And thank you so much. We look forward to seeing you out there soon. We have some big things coming out. So look forward to seeing you guys again soon. Take care.